ADIDAS Pro 2 versus the RC Elite 2. Let's do it! Hey guys, EDDBUD here, back with one of my famous comparison videos. Whoops, just managed to drop all the shoes on the ground. I've been asked so many times over the last week to do this video today. Many viewers are interested in a comparison between the ADIDAS Pro 2 and the FUELCELL RC ELITE 2. Two of the most recent road running speed slippers of the high cushioned variety, because you really wouldn't want one that's not very cushioned at all, like a brick or something under your foot. That wouldn't work. Let's compare these two super stacked midsole speedsters. First, for the stats. Stato. The ADIDAS Pro 2 clocks in at 272 grams or 9.6 ounces in my UK size 11.5, US size 12. The RC Elite 2 is 266 grams or 9.3 ounces in the same size. It looks like there's a lot more stack height here in the RC Elite 2. Quite a lot of it though is actually cupped around the foot. I think there's about 39mm here in my UK size 11.5 in the heel. Much easier to detect the heel stack in the ADIDAS Pro 2. You can see through, and also it doesn't cup around the foot like it did in the first version. I think there's about 43mm here of heel stack in my size. About an 8mm drop in the ADIDAS Pro 2, and it looks like it's about a 6mm drop in the RC Elite 2. No surprises, these are high on the comparison list. Let's get to it. Upperwise, the breathable Swiss cheese-like toe box here on the RC Elite 2 really does lighten the shoe quite a bit. There's only about a 6 gram difference between these two. There's not a lot in it. So because you've lowered the weight of the shoe, it means you can have a slightly more rigid heel counter. There's quite a lot going on in the heel here. Quite a flare as we get in the Rebel 2, and that heel counter stretches right around to these side sections of the midsole that overlap. The heel counter in the ADIDAS Pro 2 is smaller and thinner, yet still very rigid. It's more noticeable this time around. Both manufacturers have really optimized the uppers here in these shoes, certainly over the first versions of them, although the RC Elite 2 is quite drastically different to the first version. The New Balance is, dare I say it, plush on foot. Would I suggest it's more comfortable? I don't know. Maybe for some people. I think for me I prefer the simplicity of the ADIDAS Pro 2. That mesh is very light, very flexible. It just fits like a glove. Once you've cinched the laces up, it really does fit around the foot beautifully. The RC Elite 2, for all of its plushness, did get very heavy on a recent run in very wet conditions. I think it took on about an ounce of water in the end when I measured it when I got back. I think it's the back section there, that heel counter area, just seemed to absorb a lot of moisture. As such, for upper, I think it's going to be a win today for the ADIDAS Pro 2. The lock in the heel there is fantastic from that new system that Adidas have implemented. It's just so easy to get a good lockdown in this shoe, and I think they've improved it quite drastically in the upper. And I didn't think they could do that because I loved the ADIDAS Pro original upper. So a win in terms of upper for the ADIDAS Pro 2. Before we get into the next part of the video, guys, if you haven't done so already, it really helps the channel out if you hit that subscribe button and click the bell below for notifications when we launch the new videos for you. And also, if you're enjoying the video, give it a thumbs up like. Dankeschön. Midsoles now. Look at those midsoles. Absolutely huge. A bit of an optical illusion really in the RC Elite 2. It does look like a massive midsole heel stack, but actually the ADIDAS Pro 2 has got more. Underfoot at least. Makes it look modest in comparison, but when you realise that the RC Elite 2 is a bit of an optical illusion, then it all becomes clear. We got a midsole here that's beautifully crafted and sculpted, especially when you put it up against the original version. It's like they had a big slab of Lightstrike Pro and then just chiseled away some bits of it, making sure that it's only where it's needed this time. The RC Elite 2 midsole almost looks like it's been tailored towards stability. There's an increased outsole surface area. So all round just a slightly wider shoe. Marginally wider in the forefoot and the heel, and in the arch in fact, because you've got that humongous cutout here in the ADIDAS Pro 2. I think that is causing some runners to find the ADIDAS Pro 2 a little bit unstable. I've got to be honest, I haven't found a problem really with the cutout section in the midsole thus far. I've run mainly faster miles in it though, so that could be it. Performance wise, I found the ADIDAS a little easier to ramp up the pace and the speed. It's not anywhere near as soft to me as the FUELCELL foam in the New Balance shoe, but I feel it's got a faster return to shape, a more energising underfoot feel to me at least. I think I'd say from a performance and comfort view that the ADIDAS Pro 2 has improved over the first version, a chiseled piece of stone, compared to the big slab that you had in the version 1. I think these are very much race shoes, aren't they, guys? And from that perspective, there's only one winner in terms of midsole for me, and that's the Adidas. Though I think that perhaps the New Balance FuelCell RC Elite 2 could be more useful on a frequent daily basis. A very plush feeling up here and quite forgiving underfoot. People seem to suggest that these feel better a range of paces as opposed to the Adidas shoe. And I think I'd probably agree with them on that one. I mean, there's gallons of compression here if that's what you're after, but I think as a slighter person, I'm after that response really. A little bit of a firmer feel that's still gonna make me want to run the miles. So I think I've got to give the midsole crown to the ADIDAS Pro 2. Outsole now. This will be a quick one, guys. Clear winner for outsole for me is the Adidas. Road or concrete, in wet or dry conditions, it just works. I found the compound really grippy and quite coarse actually. It really sticks to the floor. Of course, on less solid surfaces, it's not going to work so well. It's not designed to be used on trails or anything like that. It seemed to work okay on gravel, but I'm not sure I'd want to run a whole race in these on gravel. Who does that anyway? Maybe there's a specific type of running where you just run on gravel. I don't know. The RC Elite 2 performs great in dry conditions. It wasn't too bad the other day in some more wet weather. It's just lacking that great toe off really, that grip that you need to really push off. I think if you're in a warmer or drier climate, then that's not going to be a concern to you. But it is an issue for me being in the UK with our very variable weather. From that perspective, the ADIDAS Pro 2 has a significant advantage for me. The rubber's just thinner and it's taking up less weight in the shoe and it just works so much better. Value now. So in terms of value, we know that that Continental rubber on the outsole of the ADIDAS Pro 2 is probably going to hold up pretty well. I had next to no wear really, up to about 70 odd miles in the original version. You can see the energy rods poking through a little bit, but the actual rubber itself felt better and better every time I wore it. However, it is harder to put a figure in terms of durability or longevity towards the outsole rubber on the RC Elite 2. It's unlike the setup that we even see in the Rebel 2 and totally different to the one that we saw in the original version of the RC Elite. You could say that the RC Elite 2 is a little bit more versatile. I think you can run in most paces in this shoe. It doesn't feel weird or clunky. It's just very, very cushioned and forgiving. And if you do turn up the pace, and obviously that slightly more aggressive plate here is going to work better for you, but it is the slightly more expensive of the two shoes at 29 Earth credits extra. The Pro 2 here represents a refined iteration of the first shoe. I mean, it is Adidas's top line race model now. We can't get away from that. And for me, it's got the edge over the RC Elite 2 in every single area. A more glove-like upper, responsive midsole feel, and that rigidity needed in the midsole from those energy rods for your faster times during your race. It hasn't got that squashy, compressive feel that some people seem to really enjoy. I mean, it is there, but it's nowhere near as amped up as what you get in the fuel cell material. I think the original version of the RC Elite was more of a match actually for the ADIDAS Pro 2. So it's my winner for value and overall in this comparison today. What are your thoughts on these two shoes, guys? Have you got them? What do you make of them? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Let me know down in the comments. Look what just turned up. The Boston 10. I gotta be honest, I'm a bit disappointed. Looking inside the shoe, you can kind of see where the Lightstrike Pro section around the heel is just like a clip. The Lightstrike Pro stuff underfoot isn't until about half the way down the shoe into the midfoot area, so it's certainly a chunky beast. I have to get it on the scales and I'll get out in these as soon as I can for you. It certainly ain't like the Boston 9. Musical interlude today is from the Eels with their album Shooter-Nanny. I think this one was released back in 2003, so it's 18 years ago. It can't be. Loads of favourites of mine on here. Saturday Morning is one of those. I love that whole ethos of the track. He's talking about waking up early on a Saturday morning, you know, before everybody else and doing stuff, which is very much my ethos. Every day. Rock Hard Times is kind of cool. It's almost like he's talking about how rock is entered into some hard times and people aren't giving it the respect that it's due. Lots of sentimental ones on here. He produces a lot of those type of tunes. Lone Wolf is a good rocker though. There's some nice dirt on that one on the guitars. I think it's worth checking out. Go and listen to this one, guys. Shooter-Nanny by the Eels. In fact, just listen to any eel stuff, it's all good. Okay, that's about all for me for today. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope you enjoyed the comparison. I'm still really bummed about our Boston 10 straight away. Out of the box, I just was really underwhelmed. Hopefully it will be better on foot, and I won't be able to feel that really hard plate in the heel that's there. Oh man. If you haven't done so already, guys, please hit that subscribe button and click the bell below for notifications when we launch those new videos for you. And it really does help the channel out if you give this video a thumbs up like and share it with your running buddies. My name's EDDBUD, and I'll be seeing you